طيب, let me just post that in the channel. طيب. بسم الله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Welcome everyone to today's lesson. Sorry for the little technical issues that we had. Starting with today's lesson, first thing we're going to do inshallah ta'ala is quickly review your work. Basically, I didn't manage to return it to all of you yet. Some of the submissions came in quite late, but we'll review some of the common mistakes inshallah for the listening one, or for the ones that I've posted on Sunday inshallah, and then the Monday one we'll do that next time. طيب, let me share the screen. طيب, here we are, lecture 2 inshallah ta'ala, and like I said, the first thing we're going to start with is, first I need to today's lecture obviously is going to be shorter than normal. It's going to be shorter compared to Saturdays. So Saturdays the lecture is 1 hour. We have 1 hour workshop. On Tuesdays we try to keep the lecture shorter and spend more time in the workshop inshallah ta'ala. So today's lecture is generally speaking normally about recap, and it's mainly also about reviewing your work that you've submitted, the homework. Okay. Now before we start with that, I'd like to touch base on a few things. Number one, workshop attendance. It was very low on Saturday, so please, specifically the premium cohort students, this is your opportunity to practice. This is your opportunity to master things. This is your opportunity to speak. This is your opportunity to get feedback directly from the teacher. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. Alhamdulillah, the feedback I've got last time from the students was very good. Some of them were very happy with the workshop, alhamdulillah. So those of you that have missed it, try not to miss the workshop. That's where most of the learning happens. Okay? Regarding the learning portal and the assignments, then I think most of you should be on the portal by now. There was a few technical issues that I think have been resolved by now, and I'm just quickly gonna run you through it, if you like. For those of you that haven't joined the portal yet, we're quickly going to show you what's on the portal and how to do everything inshallah. 2 minutes walkthrough. Let me just get the correct link. So we had an issue with the link. I've posted the correct one on the private Telegram groups today. Let me find the link quickly. So here we go. That's the link. So once you have signed up and used the coupon that you've been given, then what you do is basically you log in. You log in basically. Let me open it in a different browser. Okay, so you make sure you log in. If you forgot your login details, then you can reset it if you like. If you need any help, let me know. Let me change the screen. Okay, so once you log in, you're going to see your courses, either premium or self-paced. You click on it, inshallah, and then you choose continue over here. Okay, once you choose continue, it's going to take you to the learning portal. Okay, now these are the assignments that we've posted so far. Make a bit bigger. So as you can see, we've done week 1 pre-class. These were the dialogue worksheets. Okay, you just walk through these exercises in order, obviously. So we've done the dialogue worksheets. Obviously, as you can see, all of the weeks are here, but they're locked. They'll be made available, obviously, as soon as that week comes. Okay, now the assignments that we have posted Saturday and Sunday and Monday are these. So this is the listening comprehension one. This is the one we're going to go over quickly. So as you can see, some of you have an issue with navigating. If you look at the bottom left, these are the navigation buttons within the widget itself. Don't press these. These will take you to the next assignment. But within the widget itself, I know it's very difficult to see, but you find in the bottom left and bottom right corner, you'll find these small arrows. Okay, and you basically do it. You submit your answers. When you're done, you click this button over here and you put your name and your email. Okay, and then you send it. Then I receive your answers, I mark it, and I return it, and you'll receive the answers by email. Okay, and I'll talk about the answers and how we mark things in a moment. Okay, then you have the sound recognition practice. This one, you don't submit it. This is one that you just practice. Okay, it's not for submission. And when you click the answer, if it's wrong, nothing will happen. If it's right, it's going to give you a tick. Okay, so it's going to give you immediate feedback. It's going to give you immediate feedback. Okay, but there's no submission for this one. This is just for you to practice recognizing these sounds. Then we have the reading comprehension worksheet. Very similar to the listening comprehension as well. You just fill out the answers and then you send it. Same thing goes for the writing comprehension. Okay, so that's it. So for those of you that haven't been on the portal yet, I hope this makes it clear how to get there. Again, I repeat, just sign in. Once you sign in, you're going to see on the courses, and then you pick the right course, you choose continue, and it will take you straight to the course player, and you just work through your assignments one by one, inshallah ta'ala. This live lecture here, from now on, you're just going to receive an email. I'm going to delete these over here. You're going to receive an email, a Luma invitation, and you just accept that, inshallah. There are more exercises that are going to be posted here. You're also going to find here, and I'll explain that later, a link or a Calendly, if you like, integration, whereby you can click and book a private one-on-one session with one of the teachers to perfect your pronunciation like we've promised before. And also you can book in for those extra supplementary optional workshops where you work on reading fluency, if you like, typing or writing, you know, these core skills we talked about, the forgotten skills. You can do those in small groups, inshallah, throughout the week. You'll get more information on that, inshallah, towards the end of this week. Okay, this week I've just been sourcing the teachers and training them, but inshallah from Saturday onwards those workshops will be ready. Right. And I want to tell you that we used to use Google Classroom last time. We ditched it for many reasons. This platform is much more expensive, but it gives me superpowers as a teacher. So I want to say to you that I've got eyes on you. I'm keeping my eyes on you. This particular LMS, it gives me all of the details. It tells me how much time you've spent, how much time you spent on every assignment, and so on and so forth. And all of this is for the sake of encouraging you, obviously. Okay, because like we said, one of the greatest problems that people have when it comes to learning Arabic is not because they can't find a good teacher, it's not because they don't choose the right book, it's because the students, they lose interest, they lose motivation, and they need that little push. They need that little, if you like, that motivational, emotional support. Okay, so that's what we're here for. So if I see some of you falling behind, I see you not spending much time on the portal, then you might receive an email from me or from one of the team reminding you to get back on or asking you what we can help with, inshallah. So don't feel surprised if you receive that, inshallah. So again, please don't expect, we did say a prerequisite for this course, you have the ability to spend at least 7 hours, including the lectures. So if you're not spending those hours on the portal practicing, then at the end of the day, you will have lost your opportunity. Every unit comes and goes. Every unit has a specific start and end date, and we are on that unit, studying that theme, learning those words. If you miss the opportunity, then you're always gonna have the gap. You're always gonna have that gap, okay? And you can't make up for it later. Obviously, you can go through the videos, but the actual relearning, where you get feedback from the teacher, where you talk in the workshops, these sort of things, my dear brothers and sisters, if you miss the opportunity, it won't come back. You miss the opportunity, it goes by, it's not going to come back, okay? So please don't miss out, inshallah. And finally, the Quizlet classroom, same thing. I've sent an invitation for you to join the classroom to your emails. So please check your email and join the Quizlet classroom, because you can't practice the flashcards and perfect your vocabulary if you don't join the Quizlet classroom. Last thing I remember, almost 12 of you did not accept the invitation yet. So again, that's a very important reminder. Okay? Will the lessons open step by step? For example, the lesson of 9 September is closed. Yes. So every lesson has been scheduled at a specific date. It will be made available at that date. Your job is to stay on track. Okay? Type, going over the homework and some of the common mistakes. Screen is not sharing. Okay, let's wait. Can you see my screen? Now, is the Quizlet classroom also for self-paced students? Yes, the Quizlet classroom is for everyone. Okay, so please join. Type. I mean, it's for everyone that is registered, obviously, onto the course. Regarding the common mistakes, few things. Number one, when you're answering the questions, please don't add harakat. Do not add fatha, kasra, dhammas, and whatever you. Okay, just write the letters. Okay, unless you're told to do so. Okay, don't add it, please, because it makes life really difficult for us when it comes to marking the work. Okay, except for shadda. That's an important point. If there's a word that has a shadda, then you have to write the shadda. Otherwise, that's going to be considered a spelling mistake. Okay, and when it comes to marking, like I've said, what we do is we mark the answers. If the meaning is correct, or you got the gist of it, or the answer is correct, we mark it correct. But if there's a spelling mistake, then we highlight the word and we write next to it how it should be spelled. Okay, now once I return the homework and you receive the email, you're going to get a PDF, an actual PDF with a proper breakdown of the questions you got right, the ones you got wrong, the spelling mistakes, what it should be, and what have you. The returned homework is only missing one thing, which is personalized, specific explanation of your mistake. I don't do that on a one-to-one level. Why? Because it's much more beneficial that I do that publicly in class, because that way the students can also learn from your mistakes. And we said every mistake that a student makes is a learning opportunity. So instead of keeping that learning opportunity specific to you, I like to share it with everyone. Okay, so don't worry if you get back your homework and something's marked as wrong and you don't know what the mistake is, then don't worry. In class I'll explain why that's wrong. Okay, another thing that you can do is, which is very useful, is if you want, you can download the PDF before class, and then whilst I'm explaining it, maybe you can open it on a phone next to you and you can see your answers and compare with what the correct answer is, or you can follow along with the explanation of the mistake. So if it's you that made that mistake, then obviously you will know why. Okay, now don't add harakat, but do pay attention to these 4 things. These are the 4 things that I found most of the spelling mistakes relating to. Okay, and I'll add one to that as well, which is alif maqsura. I forgot that one. Okay, number 1, hamza. Most of you don't write the hamza where it belongs. Okay, so pay attention to that. There are rules regarding this. Inshallah, we'll cover that another time. Ta marbuta, same thing. A lot of you write the ta marbuta. I hope you're familiar with that. You've done in the Quran reading course as well. This is ta marbuta. Okay, the small ta that looks like a ha. It's different from the big ta. Okay, they're different. Okay, specifically the small ta with ta marbuta, the 2 dots. This is a sign for a word or a noun being feminine. a noun. Whereas the ta, the big ta, is a sign for a verb being feminine, if you like, or the pronoun in the verb being feminine. So a major difference. Ta marbuta never joins next to a verb. And some of you made that mistake. Okay? Same thing, this ta over here is used for plurals. When something is plural, we use this ta, not the ta marbuta. So riyalat, a very common mistake. A lot of you wrote riyalat with a ta marbuta. No, riyalat with a ta maftuha, they call it. This one's called ta marbuta, and this one's called ta maftuha. Okay? So all of the plurals, feminine plurals, are written with a ta maftuha. Samawat, riyalat, akhawat. Okay? Alif maqsura. In other words, the alif, which basically shows up as a ya with no dots. So a lot of you sometimes you write the ya with 2 dots, even though it's meant to be an alif. Don't do that. Spacing as well. Spacing sometimes all over the place. Okay? Specifically when it comes to the waw. The waw, which means and, it joins to the next word. It's not separate. So for example, a lot of you made this mistake. وَقَلَمًا. Okay, a lot of you made this mistake. You wrote وَقَلَمًا like this, with a space in between the waw and the qaf. La. There is no space in between the waw and the word that follows it. Okay? That's how it should be written. A very common mistake. And finally, alif for fathatain or fathatan. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, if you have a word that doesn't have alif lam, and it's a word that is indefinite, that is meant to have a tanween, then I said to you don't add the harakat. That rule still stands. However, there's one situation whereby you can't get away if you don't know the correct harakah, which is when it comes to the 2 fathas. We mentioned this many times before. So for example, ثمانون ريالا. ثمانون ريالا is written like this. Okay? With an alif followed by the lam. Okay? Or for example, ثمانون or خمسون, or let's say أريد ثوبا. أريد ثوبا. Okay? Now you can see there's an alif after the ba. Okay? Now I said you don't add the harakat. True. So هذا ثوب, or for example, if you say القلم في ثوب, for example, right? Then I wouldn't know the difference between ثوب and ثوب, and I'd assume you know it, right? You don't need to add the harakat. But there's one place where you have to specifically remember if there's 2 fathas. Why? Because this alif has to be written. So if you write, for example, أريد ثوب, then this would be wrong, because that could either be أريد ثوب or it could be أريد ثوب, and both of them are wrong. So the only way it could be أريد ثوبا is if you add an alif. So please don't forget the alif that belongs anywhere where you have 2 fathas. Alright? As long, anywhere where you have 2 fathas, the alif belongs there. The only exception to that would be the hamza. Okay? These are some of the most common spelling mistakes. Please pay attention to it. Please pay attention to it. You will make a mistake, you'll continue making these mistakes. And they're not new. I've pointed them out from the very beginning, from level 1. But that's just the nature of learning. That you'll make the mistake, you'll continue making the mistake until you're corrected 50 times. No problem. We'll continue correcting you 50 times. Every time you make that spelling mistake, the teacher will mark it in your work. Okay? But you just pay attention and try your best not to make the same mistake again next time. But if you do, no problem. We know it can take a little while. Okay? And when it comes to, now we're going to quickly go over some of the questions for the listening comprehension one. This is the homework that I had posted on Sunday. The Monday one, like I said, there's still some of you that need to submit it. We'll leave that for next time. But the homework for Sunday that I posted on Sunday was the listening comprehension and the sound recognition. Sound recognition doesn't need to be marked. That one gives you automatic or immediate feedback. So let's go on to the listening comprehension. The first question, استمع إلى الحوار ثم أجب عن الأسئلة. We're not going to listen to the حوار, right? I'm just going to point out some of the mainly spelling mistakes and the like, inshallah. So for example, the first question, إلى أين يذهب أحمد? Some of you wrote أحمد يذهب إلى المكتب. Okay, some of you wrote أحمد يذهب إلى المكتب. Now this is wrong. Okay, there's a major difference between مكتب and مكتبة. Who knows the difference? What's the difference between مكتب and مكتبة? I've been looking on YouTube how to join a class in Quizlet, but I couldn't find anything helpful. You don't need to look on YouTube. There's an email that you should have received. If you haven't received it, inshallah, no problem. I'll resend it. Or you can just use this link. Okay, since you're here now online anyway, one moment. For those of you that haven't joined Quizlet, I'm going to post right now in this chat. I'm going to post for you the the Quizlet classroom link, inshallah. Just give me 1 second. All right. Meanwhile, you can answer the question that I just asked. Bismillah. Okay, so now you can check the Zoom chat, and you should find there a link to join the Quizlet classroom. Okay, so everyone online here in the Zoom chat, please join the Quizlet classroom. Barakallah feekum. Okay. Now, table and library. نعم أحسنتم. Okay, table and library. So مكتبة is library. مكتب means table or office desk, to be more precise. Table means طاولة. مكتب is office desk, and it's also used for office. So office is also called مكتب. يعني مكتب المدير, the boss's office. All right. So again, that تاء مربوطة makes a major difference. That تاء مربوطة makes a major difference. It changed the whole word. Okay. So one means library, the other one means office. Or one means library, the other one means the office desk. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay. So إلى أين يذهب أحمد? Well, you could have said أحمد يذهب إلى المكتبة, but the more precise answer would be هو ذاهب إلى المكتبة. Why? Because in the actual حوار or the dialogue, he says, after being asked where he's going, he says أنا ذاهب إلى المكتبة. أنا ذاهب إلى المكتبة. Okay, which by all means has the same meaning as أذهب إلى المكتبة. Alright, so keep that in mind. ذاهب is اسم فاعل, is the noun used for the person who does the action. So it doesn't matter if you say أنا ذاهب إلى المكتبة or if you say أذهب إلى المكتبة, it means the same thing. However, there's an observation that I've made over the many years of teaching and also, speaking with natives, and that's the fact that the native Arab speaker more oftenly uses the noun, whereas the non-native Arab speaker who's just been learning the language, they tend to use the verb a lot. So for example, a native would say إلى أين أنت ذاهب. Okay, إلى أين أنت ذاهب. Okay, a non-native would say تذهب إلى أين. Okay, he would use the verb. Or for example, the native would say for example, he would say I'm just going blank there. Give me any verb, please. Help me out. Okay, he would say, for example, محمد نائم. Okay, whereas the non-native would most often say محمد ينام. Okay, and so on and so forth. I hope it's clear. Now, what's the difference between using the noun and using the verb? The difference is that the noun denotes something that is more stable, something that is more established, if you like. Okay, whereas the verb, it gives the meaning of something that happens sometimes but not all the time. Okay, so keep that in mind, because the noun is not connected to time. So you use the noun generally speaking when you're speaking generally, whereas you'd use the verb for something that happens at certain times and doesn't necessarily happen all the time. Okay. طيب ممتاز. ماذا يريد أحمد؟ يريد دفترا وقلما وكتاب القواعد. Some of the mistakes most people made, again, like I said, putting a space in between the wow and the word. Another mistake that a lot of you made is وقلم. You didn't write the alif, so that would read as يريد دفترا وقلم. If you don't write the alif, it would be قلم. لا, it's قلما. Why is it قلما? Because يريد is the verb and قلما is the object. فاعل مفعول به. Okay, this is the مفعول به. So you say وقلما. He wants a قلم. القواعد. A lot of you wrote القواعد with a hamza, which goes back to sound recognition. Okay, you've basically been hearing القواعد your whole life. Your whole life, even though people have been saying القواعد الأربع, قاعدة, القاعدة, even may Allah protect us from these evil individuals, القاعدة for example, right? Your whole life you've been hearing القاعدة. Okay, because you're not familiar, you're not used to the sound عين. That's why when you are requested to write the word al-qa'ida or qawa'id in Arabic, you end up writing it with a hamza, because that's what you've heard your whole life. Okay, same thing, some of you wrote thalatha as salasa with a sin. Okay, and there are similar other mistakes as well like that. I'll show you them when we get to them, inshallah. So again, the importance of sound recognition, one of the most forgotten skills, but nevertheless one of the core skills that everybody needs. Okay, and why is it forgotten? If you ever asked yourself, why are these skills forgotten? Why do Arabic teachers or Arabic courses never focus on reading fluency, sound recognition, handwriting, typing, pronunciation? Why are these things neglected? I'll tell you why. It's what they call the curse of knowledge. They call it the curse of knowledge, because this particular teacher, specifically if he's a native, he thinks this is something easy. Everybody knows this. Okay, it's called the curse of knowledge. When the teacher, because of his knowledge, his teaching takes a hit, because he fails to realize what his students need and what his students' weaknesses are. Because of the fact that he has the knowledge, it seems easy to him, right? So a lot of the native teachers, they don't focus with you on pronunciation, they don't focus on reading fluency, they don't focus on these sort of things. But for someone that has been teaching non-natives a lot, or someone who himself picked up the language by going through a lot of struggle, yes, he would, if you like, identify with those problems a bit more. Okay, طيب. يريد معجما عربيا. ماذا يريد الأب؟ يريد معجما عربيا. One of the mistakes again is not writing the shadda. لا, you have to put the shadda on the ya. لا بد. Okay, so any word that has shadda, you have to add it. Some of you wrote عربية. لا, why are you writing ta marbuta and making this عربية feminine? I know it's لغة عربية with a ta marbuta, but that's because لغة is feminine. But معجم is masculine. معجم is masculine, so you can't use a ta marbuta. Some of you wrote معجم العربية or معجم العربية with alif lam. لا, you can't add alif lam. Why? Because معجم doesn't have alif lam. How's العربية can have alif lam? لا, because عربيا is what? What is it, my dear brothers and sisters? Type in the chat. Grammatically speaking, معجما عربيا. What's عربيا? What role does it play in this sentence? نعت. أحسنت. It's called نعت. It's also called صفة. It's an adjective. And we said when it comes to the adjectives, they need to show agreement. Okay, they agree with the noun that they modify, or the noun they come after, or the ism that comes before it. When it comes to four things, they have to be identical. What are those four things? Okay, we've mentioned this many times. There are four things. So mu'jam is the noun, is the ism, is the mawsuf. Arabiyan is the sifa. So Arabiyan, the sifa, has to agree with mu'jaman in four things. Okay, gender, that's one thing. أحسنت. So عربية is wrong. معجما is مذكر. عربية has to be مذكر as well. Has to be masculine. Plural. نعم. أحسنت. معجما is singular. So عربيا has to be singular as well. طيب, what else? إعراب. Yes, معجما has two fathas. So عربيا also has two fathas. منصوب منصوب. And definiteness. أحسنت. معجما is indefinite. So Arabiyan also has to be indefinite. So Mu'jaman has two tanweens, Arabiyan has two tanweens. Mu'jaman doesn't have alif lam, Arabiyan doesn't have alif lam. So when you say Mu'jam al-Arabiyya, that's wrong. Now it's not a sifa anymore. Okay? So please keep that in mind. Okay? Mu'jam al-Arabiyya, this would now sound like mudaf ilayh. As if there's someone called Arabiyya. That's a name. Okay, he wants Arabiya's dictionary. Okay, look at the difference. He wants an Arabic dictionary. This is صفة موصوف, adjective. Arabic. What kind of dictionary? Arabic dictionary. Compare that to معجم العربية. He wants Arabiya's dictionary, as if Arabiya is someone or something. Okay? واضح؟ طيب. كيف يذهب أحمد إلى المكتبة؟ There was no mistakes there, or no mistakes that are worth mentioning. يذهب كم ريالا يريد أحمد؟ 100 ريال. Someone wrote يذهب 100 ريال, which didn't make sense. Okay? I don't think there's much to comment on that. Okay? طيب. Let's go to the second question. هذا السؤال الأول. السؤال الثاني it's slightly different. Here we have just one word, the underlined word. Yes, you are meant to fill in the blanks. يريد المشتري طبق بيض. Again, same thing. Some of you wrote البيض. Why is that wrong? Why is it wrong to say يريد المشتري طبق البيض? Well, it's wrong because the mushtari isn't looking for a specific tray of eggs. That would have been fine if, for example, the mushtari came in beforehand and he, let's say, he paid for it and he comes to pick it up and he says to him, أريد طبق البيض, a specific tray of eggs that they both know, then it's fine to make it definite. But in this context, no. He just wants any tray of eggs. أريد طبق بيض. I want a tray of eggs. You walk into the shop, you say, I want a tray of eggs. You don't say, I want the tray of eggs. The person will say to you, which tray of eggs? Is there a specific tray of eggs that I'm meant to know of? The tray of eggs? Which one? You know, you'd confuse the seller. And some of you wrote, يريد المشتري طبق بيض لو سمحت. لا. نعم, that was part of the dialogue. Okay? When the buyer walked into the shop and said, أريد طبق بيض لو سمحت. Correct. Now he's addressing the seller and he's saying, please. But when you're answering this question, you're answering the question, يريد المشتري طبق بيض. You can't say لو سمحت. Okay? Because the mushtari is not addressing someone here. You are talking about the mushtari. You're saying the buyer wants a tray of eggs. You don't say please after that. Please is said by the mushtari when he's addressing the seller. Okay. طبق البيض ب5 ريالات. Some of you, again, like I said, would use the big ta. لا, 5 is the small ta. Some of you wrote ب5 ريال. لا. Plural. You have to say ريالات. Okay? Has to be plural. Some of you wrote ريالات وتا مربوطة. No. You have to use ta مفتوحة because we said plurals, use ta مفتوحة. Some of you wrote خمسات, which again is similar. And you wrote, yeah, that's just a spelling mistake. We could ignore that mistake. Okay? يريد المشتري أيضا علبة بن. Again, some of you wrote علبة البن with ألف لام. That's wrong for the same reason we've explained earlier. You can't use ألف لام because it's not a specific علبة البن you're talking about. Okay? Again, this is a mistake. This is the example I was giving. 3 ريالات is written as سلالة ريالات. Okay? Because maybe the person did not recognize the tha. So they wrote a sin. طيب. The third question is very similar to the second question. We have المعطف ب50 ريالا. اللون المعطف أصفر. This again a very common mistake. And I want you to explain this to me. I'm going to put this on WooClap. I was going to use WooClap anyway, so I might as well. As a matter of fact, forget WooClap today. Just type it in the chat, inshallah. Someone answered and said, لون المعطف الأصفر. Not just someone, many of you. And that is wrong. Why is that wrong? Why is it wrong to say لون المعطف الأصفر? Please try to explain in as much detail as possible. We've done this before. Okay? Why is that wrong? لون المعطف الأصفر. I'll give you a little bit of time, inshallah. again. Okay, Ahsan, someone said the is barrier. Something we've done before. Remember the is barrier? The sentence will not be complete. Needs a khabar maybe. Ahsant, Akhil Kareem, Ahsant. Even though you're one of the new students that didn't do level 1 with us. No, actually, you've done the Arabic Essentials course with us, haven't you? Yeah. Naam. So this sentence is incomplete, my dear brothers and sisters. لون المعطف الأصفر with alif lam, it's incomplete. Remember that we said the mubtada is ma'rifah, is definite. Okay? And the khabar is indefinite. Okay? So, if you want this to be a complete sentence, then asfar has to be indefinite. Otherwise, there's no khabar. Otherwise, there's no khabar. Why is there no khabar? Because لون المعطف الأصفر is now صفة and موصوف. You're basically saying the yellow color of the jacket. Now, is that a complete sentence? The yellow color of the jacket. That's not a complete sentence. Okay, why is it the yellow color of the jacket? Why isn't it the color of the jacket is yellow? The reason is because you've given it an alif lam. When you give it an alif lam, it is going to be ma'rifah. It's going to be definite. Since it's definite, then it's going to be an adjective of loan. Loan is definite. Who can tell me why loan is definite, by the way? Loan is definite. Why? How do we know loan is definite? Loanul mi'taf. The jacket's color. As mudaf ilayh is definite. Ahsant. Mudaf, not mudaf ilayh. Yeah, naam. The mudaf ilayh is indefinite, so the mudaf is also indefinite. In other words, this loan has been ascribed to al-mi'taf. Al-mi'taf is definite, so the loan is also definite. The color of the jacket, so it's a specific color. Okay? Then when we say al-asfar, then that becomes a sifah, an adjective of loan. So you translate to the color, the yellow color of the jacket. We have a whole exercise on this, on quizzes that I've shared before. I'll share it again. A lot of these kind of sentences that can get quite confusing until you get the hang of it. But there's a difference between the yellow color of the jacket and the color of the jacket is yellow. The color of the jacket is yellow is a complete sentence. And you will only get that if you have a khabar, which is the second pillar of a sentence. You need a mubtada and a khabar. And you're only going to have a khabar if asfar is indefinite. If it's definite, la, it's going to be a sifah. I hope that's clear. واضح? If this is the first time you're hearing this, it's not going to be clear. I agree with you. Because I've explained this before. And I'll share inshallah the clip, but I've explained it before. And I'll share the exercise with you as well, and then it'll become clear. But for those of you that have done this before with me, then this should ring a bell inshallah ta'ala. Okay? So I can't go into more detail. If you know, you know. Because you've studied with me before. If you don't know, inshallah ta'ala, I'll share some resources with you after the class. Please remind me in the group. Okay? لون المعطف أصفر with a sin. Classical again, mistaking between two sounds. This is because the individual has been hearing asfar his whole life. Or every sad he's been hearing as a sin because he's not used to it yet. What's the solution? Very simple. Do the sound recognition exercises on the portal as much as you can. Okay, and then you'll start to recognize different sounds. لون القميص أبيض, same mistake. لون القميص الأبيض is wrong. القميص ب10 ريالات, again same mistakes, ريال and ريالات وتاء مربوطة. الثوب ب20 ريالا, somebody wrote 70 ريالا. Now, even though 70 ريالا is wrong, if we look at the context, right? But let's say we say 20 ريالا, okay? Then that would still be wrong. I'm not typing Arabic. Okay, so let's say 20, let's change 80 to 20. Okay? That would also be wrong. Why is that the case? Why is الثوب ب20 ريالا wrong? الثوب ب20 ريالا. It's difficult to pronounce. Subhanallah. الثوب ب20 Wallah, it's difficult to pronounce. No wonder. It's wrong. Why is that wrong? الثوب ب20 ريالا. Huh? Okay, because of the اسم مجرور. نعم. Because of the باء. ب20. Okay? المطلوب 80 ريالا. Again, some of you wrote ريال. Why is it ريالا? Just memorize it like that. Okay? And whenever you have a number, these big numbers, 80 and 40, what have you, the word that comes after it is going to have two fathas. In Arabic, it's called tamyiz. We haven't done that yet. It's very advanced grammar concept. Okay? But just remember that. 80 ريالا, 80 دولارا, 80 دينارا, and so on and so forth. Okay? 80 رجلا. Okay? And so on and so forth. Okay? That was the third and final question. The fourth question, there wasn't really mistakes or new mistakes. They were just the same mistakes coming back, so there's no point spending time on that. In the book, we have some supplementary vocabulary for this particular unit, and basically it's colors. So make sure you learn your colors, okay? And you'll find that quite on purposely, yes, all of the products, the clothing and the fruits and the vegetables and the food that we covered in this particular unit, khiyar, basal, tamatim, thob, qamis, all of these words, all of them are masculine. All of them are masculine. Okay? Why is that the case? Because this unit also introduced colors. And the authors want you to learn how to use the colors in the Arabic language. So they're giving you abyad, azraq, aswad, thoban, abyad, and so on and so forth. But all of these colors now that you've learned, they are the masculine version of colors. Okay? Now, so that you don't get confused by the feminine version of colors, they haven't added any feminine nouns in this unit. That's why all of the nouns are masculine. Basal, khiyar, tamatim, all these words you've learned are all masculine. And that's the reason. Okay? So don't think right now you can use any word in the Arabic language and just say abyad after that. La. You can't say, for example, sayyaratan abyad. That's wrong. You can't say sayyaratan abyad. You know sayyara abyad? La. Sayyaratun bayda. Okay, why? Because bayda is the feminine version of abyad. And we'll do that obviously in future units, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to mention about the supplementary vocabulary. But for the rest, it's just a matter of going to the supplementary vocabulary DAC on Quizlet and just memorizing them, inshallah. I was going to do a quick Quizlet competition, specifically one revising all the words we've done in level 1, but I'll leave that for another time. Right now, we are going to quickly go over the workshop activities. Quickly going to go over them, have a go at a few of them, inshallah, and then we'll take it forward in the workshop, inshallah. Good question. Ya Ustad, why is it طماطم when it's an object, not طماطما? Okay, now there's something in Arabic called al-mamnu' min al-sarf. We haven't done that yet. In English, I think it's called diptodes, right? Which basically means there are certain words in the Arabic language that don't accept a tanween, and they also are mamnu' min al-sarf in the sense that they don't accept a kasrah. Okay, which words are they? We'll cover that another time. But this is one of these words. It just doesn't accept a tanween. All right, so you just have to remember it that way. Okay. نعم غير منصرف. أحسنت. هذا ممنوع من الصرف. طيب, no problem. Okay, let's do quickly workshop thingy. So we basically have these exercises. One of them, you basically you're going to have a list of words. These are categorized vocabulary from this unit. So the words or the vocabulary in this unit, I've categorized them into different categories. So you'll find that we have verbs such as تفضل, يقول, يشتري, يبيع, يريد. We have foods such as خيار, بصل, طماطم, سكر. We have clothing, قميص, قمصان, ثوب, أثواب. We have stationery, معجم, دفتر, قلم. We have colors, we have numbers, and we have something else. Others. يعني this is just a mixture, right? Now you need to make a sentence by using these words. You don't have to use any specific words. You can just you can just choose whatever you like, as long as you use words from these columns. I want you to make a sentence in the Arabic language. Now, I don't know why I didn't fire up WooClap, because we're going to be using WooClap anyway. But also, if you can have maybe some of these students, some of the brothers, if they want to have a go at it as well, they're welcome. Just put up your hand, inshallah ta'ala. And we also have, just to quickly show you the workshop exercise before we go to the categorized words. The other one is what we call speaking prompts. So you're going to do this in the workshop with the teacher, inshallah. Basically, you look at this, teacher puts this on the screen, and then you just need to speak in Arabic by using these prompts. So one of you is going to assume the role of the customer, and the other one is going to assume the role of the seller. And all of these prompts here are exactly 100% in line with the learning objectives for this unit. I just looked at the learning objectives, the one we've done on Saturday, the overview of what we're going to learn, and I just made these speaking prompts. So assuming the role of a customer, you're going to politely inquire about the availability of a product. هل لديكم, or whatever, use whatever example that you want. Just ask the person if he has something. Request about a specific product. Now when I say request about a specific product, what do I mean? It means you have to use an adjective. You have to use an adjective. There's no other way to specify. So if you want to have a thobe, you're going to a shop, alright, then you have to use an adjective in order to specify which thobe you're talking about. You can't just walk in and say uridu thoban, unless you don't care. But if you have something in mind, you have to use an adjective. If it is you want a white thobe, then you have to say uridu thoban abyad. If it is that you want a cheap thobe, you say uridu thoban rakhisan. So you have to use these adjectives. So when I say request a specific product, I mean just come up with whatever product that you like, but then you have to specify it by using a suitable adjective. And then you inquire about the price of a product, become a thob al-abyad, become, and what have you. And then you give the amount requested. You say تفضل هذه 80 ريالا, just the way it is in the dialogue. And another one of you assumes the role of the seller, and he politely welcomes the customer. He says أي خدمة أهلا وسهلا. Then he presents what they have in store. لدينا أثواب جميلة, for example. Then he asks the customer which specific type of product he wants. So for example, you find in the dialogue it says أي ثوب تريد. Okay, أي ثوب تريد, which thobe do you want? You inform the customer of the price of the product. You say, for example, الثوب الأبيض ب80 ريالا. And here it's not about the words that you use. The teacher is going to pay attention to the way you structure your sentences grammatically. So if you say, for example, هذا الثوب 80 ريالا, okay, well, I would say to you, look at the dialogue. What did it say? Okay, it says هذا الثوب ب80 ريالا. Try to use the same as the dialogue with the باء, ب80 ريالا. Then you give the customer the product. Okay, you say تفضل, as they do in the dialogue. تفضل الثوب الأبيض, تفضل هذا هو الثوب الأبيض, or what have you. Then you ask the customer if he wants anything else. هل تريد شيئا آخر? Now, for the sisters, you have to use the correct conjugation. هل تريدين شيئا آخر? Don't say هل تريد شيئا آخر. Okay? And finally, you inform the customer of the total cost. المطلوب 80 ريالا. Okay? Or المجموع, we didn't know المجموع, which is the total. But you can say المطلوب 80 ريالا, for example. Okay? So this is something that you do in the workshop. And the teacher will time 2 or 3 minutes. And the teacher won't interrupt you if you make a mistake. They'll just have their pen and their notebook, and they'll just take notes, right? And then when you finish and the time is finished, the 2 or 3 minutes, then they will point out some of the grammatical mistakes that you made, inshallah. Okay? And then finally, we have the random image or word, if you like, widget. Okay? So this one, reading from right to left. Okay? And at the top here, you can see what it contains. We have the word become. Then we have the mubtada. Then you have to specify it by using a sifa or making it mudaf ilayh. And I'll explain to you all of what this means in a moment. Then you use the mubtada again. Whatever word you used here, use it again. Answering basically. and then you have the number, how much it cost, and then here you have the currency. So for example, let's spin the wheels, and I'll give you a sample sentence, inshallah. I mean, these exercises started much easier, okay, but they're getting progressively more difficult. Specifically those students on level 1, they've noticed that it's getting a bit more difficult. So those of you, the first time you're seeing this exercise, you might be a bit overwhelmed. You might be saying, what are you talking about? But don't worry, to get the hang of it, inshallah. I'll give you an example here. So this, we're going to say, become الثوب, and then الأبيض. You have to specify it. become الثوب الأبيض. You can use صفة, or you can use مضاف مضاف إليه. What do I mean مضاف مضاف إليه? For example, if you have this word, let's say دفتر, you can say become دفتر القواعد, كتاب القواعد, or become دفتر اللغة العربية. Okay, so you do مضاف مضاف إليه. Okay, that's to specify it. Or for example, you can say become دفتر المدرس. Okay, how much, or what have you. Okay, then the person answers and says الدفتر بدولار واحد. Look at this one. Okay, the numbers obviously going to change. Okay, so we have here, for example, we have become قلم القلم الجديد, or القلم الأبيض, or القلم الأزرق. become القلم الأزرق. القلم الأزرق ب70 درهما. ب70 درهما, and so on and so forth. So that's one example. The other one, this one. No, it's not that one. Okay, I don't know what happened here. I suppose I've posted the same link twice. This was meant to be something else. Anyway, I'll check that out in a moment, inshallah. Okay, so these kind of exercises, that's how they happen, inshallah ta'ala. Now quickly going to vocab, I want you to make me a sentence, inshallah, and then I'll give feedback, inshallah. Okay, so join us on vocab. Again, this is something you'll do more of in class, and in the workshop. And when you're doing this in the workshop, it's quite different, and I'll tell you why. It's different because you are speaking it now. You're not typing it. When you're typing it, you got more time to think. Okay, it's much easier to write than to speak. Okay, but in the workshop, you have to speak it. Okay, so right now it's going to be slightly easier than when you're doing in the workshop. Okay, so create an open question. Let's say make a sentence using the categorized vocabulary. Okay, there you go. Yes, inshallah. Yeah, so I'll have one or two brothers, inshallah ta'ala, have a go at the dialogue so that you know how it goes, inshallah, after you write a few sentences, inshallah. Okay, let's see who's up for it. Just put up your hand. Okay, I've got one brother. I need another one as well, inshallah. One more brother, inshallah, that wants to come forward, inshallah. Okay, now let's start with this one. Let me show you the sorry, I'm not showing you the vocab. There we go. You can see the vocabulary, sah? So I want you to write a sentence, inshallah. Write me a sentence. Oh, I didn't post the WooClap link, have I? Sorry about that. Let me post the WooClap link. 1 second. There you go. Okay, while you not think about the sentence, but actually let's quickly do the speaking prompts, inshallah. With two brothers, inshallah. Okay, so we have Ilyas, tafaddal, you can unmute yourself, and our brother Aftab, tafaddal. Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
كيف حالكم؟
الحمد
كيف
لله.
حالكما؟ بل أقول كيف حالكما. طيب الآن this is as if we're doing the workshop, so we're going to speak Arabic إن شاء الله. and أريد منكما إن شاء الله التحدث حول هذه الجمل بإذن الله الكريم، وسأشغل التايمر عندكم دقيقتين. زين، لحظة
نعم.
ولا 3 دقائق؟ ها
3
كم تريد؟
دقائق إن شاء الله.
3. أبشر أبشر
نعم.
أبشر أبشر. خلاص، وأنا إن شاء الله أعلق إذا في أخطاء إن شاء الله، ثم بعد ذلك نبين إن شاء الله تعالى. طيب
إن
جاهزون؟
شاء الله.
تفضل. أوكي، بسم الله.
السلام
من المشتري ومن البائع؟
أنا المشتري.
طيب تفضل.
طيب.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. أي خدمة يا أخي الكريم؟ يا أخي
أنت معنا؟ لحظة بس.
يا مشتري أنت معنا؟
المشتري غضبان خلاص. ما عندكم خدمة عملاء.
أيوة، المشتري ذاهب إلى سوق الآخر.
نعم، ذهب إلى سوق آخر. طيب لعله حصل له لحظة. نعم، I need to unmute him again. sorry، الخطأ عندي. تفضل، معليش، تفضل. خلاص نبدأ الوقت من جديد. بسم الله، تفضل.
أريد كتاب القواعد.
هل تريد شيئا آخر؟
نعم، أريد علبة ملح كبير وكتاب القراءة بورق مسطر.
هل يريد أبوك شيئا؟
لا، ما يريد شيئا.
كتاب القواعد ب10 ريال، ب10 ريالات، وعلبة ملح ب5 ريالات. وماذا تقول؟ ما تريد أيضا؟
أريد كتاب القراءة.
وكتاب القراءة ب10 ريالات. المطلوب 25 ريالات.
المطلوب كثير جدا.
لكن في شيء كثير أيضا.
لا بأس، أنا سأدفع لك المال. تفضل، هذه 25 ريالا.
يا أخي الكريم، خلي 20 ريال فقط.
جزاك الله خيرا.
وبارك فيكم، وبارك الله فيك.
أحسنتما، ما شاء الله، ما شاء الله، تبارك الله. طيب، في تعليق بسيط فقط. علبة ملح كبير، ما رأيكما؟ علبة ملح كبير.
علبة ملح كبيرة.
نعم، أحسنت، علبة ملح كبيرة، لأن كبيرة صفة لعلبة وليس صفة لملح. ممتاز. غير ذلك يعني ما شاء الله كان حوارا جيدا، والأخطاء قليلة. أحسنتما وجزاكم الله خيرا. إذن everyone, that's a sample, if you like, conversation you should have in the workshop inshallah. Now let's go back to WooClap inshallah and let's make some sentences. جزاكم الله خير إخوة. طيب, so these are the sentences. WooClap is up and running. I've pasted the link in the chat. Please write me a sentence. There's the link once again, and then we'll review the answers inshallah. طيب. دقائق بس يا أستاذ. حصل عندنا اليوم في بداية الدرس حصل عندنا خلل تقني. الحمد لله حليناها, لكن بدأنا شوي متأخرا, فدقائق فقط. بارك الله فيك. طيب, do we have a few sentences? The problem is if I navigate away from from the words, then some of you might not be able to write a sentence. So let me quickly, excuse me while I quickly check WooClap. Okay, there's no answers here yet. Oh, we got one here, mashallah. يوسف يشتري دفتر الأبيض من الدكان دفتر ب5 ريالات. طيب, the mistake here is that يشتري دفترا with an alif because it is مفعول به. أبيض أبيضا. Okay, you don't say الأبيض. Okay, because we already explained that why they shouldn't have alif lam, because it's an adjective. من الدكان الدفتر. Don't say دفتر ب5 ريالات. الدفتر, you're talking about a specific دفتر now, so you have to say الدفتر ب5 ريالات. Okay, let's go back to the words. Any other sentence? طيب, we'll leave the rest I think for the workshop inshallah. I hope you got the gist of it, the hang of it. We might do one of this. Where is it? You wanna have a go at this? Let's do one of these and then we'll finish. So we have this random whatever. I'm gonna spin it once inshallah and give me the answer. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. So it'll become, we have qamis. Make sure you specify which kind of qamis you're talking about. Then you mention the qamis and its adjective or whatever again. Basically, the first 3 boxes are a question and these 3 are the answers. So how much is the shirt, the white shirt for example? The white shirt is 40 riyals for example, but then in Arabic obviously. So please write that, or if any of you wants to do it, just put up your hand inshallah and I'll give you the mic. And then you can just do it by speaking inshallah. Anyone wants you, any of you brothers wants to have a go, just put up your hand inshallah. And inshallah the sisters will get their chance in the workshop bismillah. Or you can post it on WooClap as well. Post in the same one here where it says making a sentence. So again, how would we say this? Shall I give you the answer? So this would be, for example, بكم القميص الأبيض, or بكم القميص الصغير, for example. القميص الصغير ب40 ريالا. Okay, let's do one more example. بكم الطماطم, again no say الطماطم. Okay, بكم الطماطم, let's say بكم طماطم البقالة. So بقالة is the grocery store. How much are the tomatoes at the grocery store as opposed to at the big if you like supermarkets? بكم طماطم البقالة, for example. Then you would say طماطم البقالة ب1 جنيه. Jannah is basically pound. Okay, بواحد جنيه. Okay. طيب ممتاز. We'll stop there inshallah. We'll leave the rest for the workshop. Are there any questions before we break up? I'll post the link to the workshop inshallah in the groups. The sisters use the same link as last time. Ustad's personal meeting room, that one is fixed. The brothers, I'll send you a link in a moment. We'll start the workshop like 5 minutes from now inshallah. Have a 5-minute break, walk around inshallah. Okay. طيب. Look forward to some assignments being posted inshallah on either tomorrow or Thursday inshallah, and then Friday again for the pre-unit assignments inshallah. Okay. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد. بارك الله فيكم. We'll see all of you soon inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.